Your comfort is a silent thief stealing your future. Most people choose ease over effort and end up broken, and filled with regret. Greatness is a price. You either pay it now with sacrifice, or you pay it later with failure. Stay, listen, and trade comfort for a legacy before it's too late. Part 1. The illusion of comfort. What if I told you the thing you call safety, comfort, and peace is actually the very thing that's stealing your future? What if I told you that the cozy blanket of comfort you wrap yourself in every night is the same blanket smothering your dreams to death? You see, comfort feels good in the moment, but it has a hidden cost, and that cost is your destiny. Think about it. Comfort whispers, stay in bed, you can do it tomorrow. Comfort says, don't push too hard, life is already stressful enough. Comfort convinces you that the day is not the right time, that you deserve a little rest, that you're not ready yet. And here's the terrifying truth. People believe that voice, and because of that belief, they never break out of mediocrity. How many times have you chosen comfort over challenge? How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, only to realize tomorrow never comes? What does that hesitation cost you? Not money, not time. It costs you the life you could have lived. It costs you your greatness. Comfort zones are most often expanded through discomfort. That's a line people post on social media, but few live it. Because when life gives you two doors, one marked comfort and one marked sacrifice, most will run into the comfort room without realizing it's actually a prison cell. Comfort feels safe. But what is it really keeping you safe from? Not danger, not death. It keeps you safe from growth. And when you avoid growth, you're choosing decay. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who wanted to change his life. Every night he would write down his goals, start a business, get fit, improve his mind, inspire others. Every morning he woke up and faced the same decision, comfort or sacrifice. And almost every morning, comfort won. He slept in. He scrolled on his phone. He convinced himself he was resting. But do you know what was really happening? He was trading his future for a few extra minutes of sleep. Weeks passed. Months passed. Nothing changed. His dreams stayed on paper while his life stayed stuck in reality. Now pause and ask yourself, are you living that same story? Are you telling yourself you'll start tomorrow while tomorrow never comes? Are you lying in the arms of comfort while your destiny is crying for help? Mini affirmation. I choose sacrifice over comfort because my future is worth more than my excuses. Here's the psychology you need to understand. The human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. It's survival. But in modern life, pain is rarely about life or death. Most of the pain we avoid is temporary discomfort. Sweating in the gym, studying when tired, waking up early, saving money instead of spending it. And here's the trap. Because the brain avoids discomfort, it also avoids growth. If you let that wiring control you, you'll live a safe but wasted life. Dark truth. Comfort is not neutral. Comfort is killing you slowly, like poison dripping one drop at a time. You won't feel it today. You won't feel it tomorrow. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll wake up and realize you've been living the same year over and over, while your dreams never moved forward. That regret will cut deeper than any sacrifice ever could. Let me ask you, do you want the pain of discipline now, or the pain of regret later? Because those are your only two choices. There is no third option. Quote, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. Every person who achieved greatness, every entrepreneur, every athlete, every leader, had to face the door of comfort and the door of sacrifice. And the ones who changed history were those who dared to suffer a little now, so they could live free later. Think of someone like Michael Jordan. He wasn't the most talented in the beginning. He got cut from his high school team. But instead of choosing comfort, he chose sacrifice. Hours of practice, sweat, pain, discipline. And because of that, he became a legend. Imagine if he had chosen comfort. Imagine if he had said, I'll practice tomorrow. Would you even know his name today? Reflection question. What names, achievements, or dreams will never be known because you keep choosing comfort instead of sacrifice? Mini affirmation. Comfort steals, sacrifice builds. I choose to build. Now think about your own life. Where are you too comfortable right now? Is it in your job, where you're settling for average instead of pushing for greatness? Is it in your health, where you're telling yourself you'll start working out next week? Is it in your relationships, where you stay quiet instead of speaking your truth? Be honest, where has comfort trapped you? Here's the hidden danger of comfort. It's addictive. The more you choose it, the weaker you become. The weaker you become, the harder it is to escape. And soon, you're stuck in a cycle, wanting change but unable to sacrifice for it. That's how dreams die, not with one big failure, but with thousands of tiny choices of comfort. And here's the question you can't avoid. Are you okay with your dream dying this slow death? Most people don't fail because of one huge mistake. They fail because of small, comfortable choices made daily. Sleeping in instead of rising, watching TV instead of learning, spending instead of saving, complaining instead of creating. These small decisions don't look dangerous in the moment, but they add up into a wasted life. Dark psychology shows us that the brain feels more pain from loss than it feels joy from gain. That's why comfort feels so strong. It protects you from losing the now. But here's a paradox. By protecting you from losing the present, it steals your future. It's a thief you don't notice until everything valuable is gone. Mini affirmation. Every time I reject comfort, I take back my future. So what do? You must rewire your mind to see comfort not as pleasure but as poison. Every time you choose comfort, remind yourself, this is a thief of my destiny. And every time you choose sacrifice, remind yourself, this is the price of my greatness. Reflection question. If you continue living with today's level of comfort, what will your life look like in 5 years? Are you willing to pay that price? Don't wait until regret eats you alive. Don't wait until you're old and realize you traded your dreams for naps and distractions. The time to trade comfort for sacrifice is now. Because the truth is brutal. Comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. Failure at least teaches. Comfort just keeps you asleep until it's too late. Quote, great things never come from comfort zones. And if you think you can live both ways, comfort and greatness, you're lying to yourself. Every legend you admire sacrificed something. Sleep, money, security, friendships, leisure. They traded comfort for greatness. You can't escape that rule. If you want to rise, you must give something up. So here's your challenge for today. Pick one comfort you've been clinging to and sacrifice it. Wake up earlier. Skip the distraction. Face the discomfort. And remind yourself, this sacrifice is not loss, it's investment. Mini affirmation. I give up comfort today to gain greatness tomorrow. Let me leave you with this. If you keep choosing comfort, you're building a life of regret. If you start choosing sacrifice, you're building a life of greatness. The decision is yours, and the clock is ticking. Part 2. The silent price of greatness. Sacrifice. That word alone makes people uncomfortable. It feels heavy. It feels unfair. It feels like you're being asked to give something up that you don't want to lose. And yet, the truth is this, nothing worth having has ever been built without it. You cannot grow without giving up. You cannot rise without releasing. You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to the very comforts that keep you small. But let's be real. Sacrifice is not glamorous. People don't post about it on Instagram. Nobody claps for you when you choose to stay up late working on your dream instead of watching Netflix. Nobody praises you when you save money instead of wasting it on something flashy. Sacrifice is lonely. It's invisible. It's painful. And yet, it's the one path that leads to greatness. Think about the people you admire most. Every single one of them paid a price you don't always see. They gave up comfort, sleep, parties, and sometimes even relationships. But here's the thing. What they gave up was nothing compared to what they gained. Sacrifice always looks like loss in the moment. But with time, it reveals itself as an investment. Now let me take you deeper. There's a dark side to sacrifice that most people don't want to face. If you don't sacrifice now, you will sacrifice later. You either sacrifice comfort today, or you sacrifice your future tomorrow. You either give up temporary ease now, or you give up permanent greatness later. Which one sounds worse? Let me tell you about two men who lived almost the same life but made opposite choices. The first man loved comfort. He avoided sacrifice whenever possible. He told himself he would start his goals one day. He worked enough to get by but never enough to grow. He spent his money as fast as he made it. He never wanted to feel discomfort. For years, it seemed like he was doing okay. But slowly, reality caught up. His health broke down. His finances collapsed. His dreams dried out. He sacrificed nothing, and in the end, he lost everything. The second man chose differently. He sacrificed mornings of sleep to build his body. He sacrificed evenings of distraction to build his skills. He sacrificed money on quick pleasures so he could invest in his future. And while it looked like loss to everyone else, over time, it built him into a leader. His body was strong, his mind was sharp, his finances grew, and his dream came alive. People called him lucky, but luck had nothing to do with it. He had been paying the silent price of greatness all along. Here's the question: which man are you becoming right now? Mini affirmation: I am willing to pay the price today so I don't pay with regret tomorrow. Psychology explains something powerful here. Human beings fear loss more than they desire gain. It's why people hesitate to invest, why they cling to comfort, why they refuse to change. The brain screams, don't lose what you have. But what the brain doesn't see is the greater loss that comes from refusing sacrifice. That is a trick of comfort. It makes you fear losing small things while hiding the fact that you are losing the big things. Think of the student who sacrifices no time to study. He thinks he's winning by keeping his evenings free. But later, he sacrifices his opportunities because he isn't qualified. Think of the person who sacrifices no money to save. They think they're enjoying life. But later, they sacrifice security, freedom, and peace because they have nothing to fall back on. Every choice not to sacrifice now becomes a forced sacrifice later. Reflection question: what greater sacrifice will you be forced to make later if you refuse to give up small comforts today? Quote, in the end, we all sacrifice. Some sacrifice comfort for greatness. Others sacrifice greatness for comfort. Let me tell you another story. A young woman dreamed of becoming a writer. She worked a regular job, came home tired, and told herself she would write when she felt inspired. But inspiration rarely came. Days became weeks, weeks became months. Her book idea lived only in her mind. And then one day, she saw another writer publish a book almost identical to her idea. The world celebrated that writer, and she was left with one thing: regret. Because she sacrificed nothing, she lost everything. Do you see how dangerous it is to cling to comfort? It tricks you into thinking you're safe, but really you're falling behind. The clock is ticking, whether you move or not. And every day you delay your sacrifice, someone else who's willing to pay the price is passing you by. Dark truth: someone out there is hungrier than you. Someone is willing to wake up earlier, work harder, and give up more. And if you don't make the sacrifices your dream requires, someone else will, and they will take the future that could have been yours. Mini affirmation: if I don't sacrifice on my dream, someone else will live it instead of me. That thought should sting. It should make you uncomfortable. Because the only thing worse than sacrificing for your dream is watching someone else live the dream you could have had. Let's get even more personal. Look at your life right now. What comforts are you holding onto that are silently stealing your greatness? Is it the comfort of sleeping in instead of working on yourself? The comfort of spending instead of saving? The comfort of scrolling instead of studying? Be honest. What has your comfort cost you so far? Reflection question: if you added up every small comfort choice from the last year, what opportunities did you lose without even realizing it? Here's the raw truth: greatness is expensive, and comfort convinces people they can afford it without paying. But life will not be fooled. You can't cheat your way to success. You can't fake your way to discipline. You can't wish your way to greatness. The only currency the universe accepts is sacrifice. Pay it now, or pay it later, but you will pay. Quote, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Now let me ask you this: what weighs heavier in your heart right now? The thought of giving up some comfort today, or the thought of carrying regret for the rest of your life? Because that's the trade. Think of someone sitting on their deathbed. Do you really think they wish they had watched more TV? Do you think they wish they had scrolled more, slept more, spent more time being comfortable? No. They regret not sacrificing enough for the things that truly mattered. They regret dreams they buried in the soil of comfort. They regret the lives they could have lived but didn't because the price felt too high in the moment. Mini affirmation: I would rather sacrifice today than regret tomorrow. The pain of sacrifice is temporary. The pain of regret is permanent. That's why you have to feel the burn now, so you don't bleed later. That's why you have to face the loneliness now, so you don't face emptiness later. And let me warn you, sacrifice gets harder the longer you delay it. The earlier you start, the lighter the load. But if you wait until life forces it on you, the weight will be unbearable. Don't wait until your health collapses to sacrifice for discipline. Don't wait until your finances collapse to sacrifice for security. Don't wait until your dream dies to realize you should have sacrificed comfort years ago. Reflection question: if you keep delaying sacrifice, how heavy will the price be in 10 years? Can you live with that weight? Every choice you make right now is a seed. Comfort is a seed that grows weeds. Sacrifice is a seed that grows fruit. And one day, the harvest will come. You cannot escape it. You cannot cheat it. You cannot delay it forever. The only question is, what harvest will you face, regret or greatness? Quote, sacrifice is a bridge between dreams and reality. So I'll ask you again, which bridge are you building right now? Mini affirmation: every sacrifice I make today builds a bridge to my future. Let's close this part with something raw and honest. Sacrifice is not about losing. It's about trading. You trade something small for something greater. You trade temporary comfort for lasting strength. You trade shallow pleasure for deep fulfillment. You trade easy now for freedom later. And if you don't make that trade, life will make it for you, and the terms will never be in your favor. So ask yourself this: what are you willing to give up right now to build the future you say you want? Because until you answer that, your dream will stay a dream. Part 3. The power of sacrifice, motivation, and affirmations to trade comfort for greatness. Sacrifice is not just about giving something up. It's about giving up at the right time, for the right reason, and for the right future. In Part 2, you saw how refusing sacrifice today only creates a bigger, heavier sacrifice tomorrow. But here's the darker truth most people never face. Every comfort you cling to today steals from your future without asking permission. Think about that carefully. Every extra hour of sleep you take when you should be working on your goals doesn't just disappear. It gets stolen from your future progress. Every dollar you waste on something meaningless doesn't just vanish. It's stolen from the freedom and security you could have had. Every distraction you let consume you isn't harmless. It's a thief breaking into the house of your destiny and robbing you blind. And the cruelest part? You don't even notice until it's too late. That's the trap of comfort. It makes the cost invisible in the moment. You feel safe, entertained, relaxed. But what you don't see is that comfort is a thief in disguise. It doesn't knock at your door with warning. It slips in quietly, night after night, until one day you wake up and realize your best years are gone. Mini affirmation: I will not let comfort steal the future I deserve. Let me tell you about Michael, a man who dreamed of becoming a doctor. In his early 20s, he studied hard, he was disciplined, and he made progress. But then comfort started whispering, you worked hard enough today, rest. You can study later, go out with your friends. Don't stress now, you have time. Each choice felt harmless, each delay felt small, but those small choices piled up like bricks. By the time he realized he had fallen behind, he had lost years. Younger students passed him. His dream faded. And when people asked him about it years later, all he said was, I could have been a doctor. Could have been. The most painful word a person can ever say. Reflection question: what will you could have been if you keep choosing comfort over sacrifice? Now contrast that with another story. Sarah wanted to be a musician. She worked 2 jobs to pay her bills, but every night, every single night, she gave up 2 hours of sleep to practice her craft. She sacrificed comfort. She sacrificed social life. She sacrificed free time. Years later, she became the performer she always dreamed of being. People clapped for her, cheered for her, envied her. But what they didn't see were the quiet nights of sacrifice when no one was watching. That's the difference. One person avoids sacrifice and lives with regret. Another embraces sacrifice and lives with greatness. Here's the harsh reality. One way or another, you will sacrifice. Either you sacrifice for your dreams, or you sacrifice your dreams. Either way, something dies. The only question is, will it be your comfort or your future? Quote, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. The psychology here is brutal but true. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Sacrifice feels like pain, so the mind resists it. But what the mind doesn't see is a greater pain waiting down the road. You think you're protecting yourself from pain by avoiding sacrifice, but really, you're multiplying the pain of regret. Imagine carrying regret in your chest every day. Imagine waking up 10 years from now knowing you wasted your chance. Imagine explaining to your children why you didn't fight harder for the life you promised them. That's the weight of regret, and it's far heavier than any sacrifice you could make today. Mini affirmation: I choose the temporary pain of sacrifice over the permanent pain of regret. But let's dig deeper. Why do so many people run from sacrifice, even when they know it's the right thing to do? It's because sacrifice feels unfair. It feels like loss without reward. People think, why should I give up fun? Why should I give up comfort? Why should I pay now when others aren't? But let me flip it. Why should you keep losing your future for people who don't care about it? Why should you let your destiny slip away just because you want to match the comfort of those around you? Why should you give up greatness to stay average? Reflection question: are you sacrificing your future to fit in with people who won't even remember you in 10 years? Here's a dark psychological trick your brain plays on you. It convinces you that comfort is freedom, but it's a lie. Comfort is not freedom, it's a prison. It keeps you stuck, locked in the same place, chained by the illusion that you're living. True freedom comes from sacrifice, because when you sacrifice today, you buy back control over tomorrow. The chains of comfort are invisible, but they are the hardest to break. Part 4. The power of sacrifice, motivation, and affirmations to trade comfort for greatness. Sacrifice is not just about giving things up. It's about making space for something greater. In Part 3, you saw how comfort acts like a thief that robs your future in silence. But here's the truth that stings the hardest. Most people don't lose because of big disasters. They lose because of small, invisible choices they made every single day. The choices they thought didn't matter. Think about it. Nobody wakes up one morning and suddenly finds themselves broke, out of shape, or filled with regret. No, it happens slowly, quietly. It happens every time they say, I'll start tomorrow. Every time they choose an easy path instead of the hard one. Every time they avoid sacrifice. And then one day, they look in the mirror and realize 10 years are gone. That is how failure is built, one comfortable choice at a time. Mini affirmation: every small sacrifice I make today builds the strong future I deserve. Now let's turn the mirror back on you. Where are you letting comfort steal from you? Maybe it's the way you waste hours scrolling when you should be learning. Maybe it's the way you spend money on temporary pleasures instead of investing in yourself. Maybe it's the way you choose sleep over sweat, excuses over effort, or distraction over discipline. Those small decisions look harmless, but they are shaping your destiny in real time. Reflection question: if nothing changes, what will your life look like 5 years from now if you keep avoiding sacrifice? That's a fear you need to carry with you, the fear of staying the same. Because here's the brutal truth. Comfort doesn't let you stay the same. It makes you worse. Comfort rots your strength. Comfort weakens your will. Comfort dulls your potential until you're just a shadow of the person you were meant to be. Quote, comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. Think about the last time you sacrificed something real for your dream. How did it feel? Maybe it was painful. Maybe it was lonely. Maybe you even doubted yourself. But here's the secret. You also felt alive. Because sacrifice is proof that you're chasing something worth having. If your dream demands nothing from you, it means it's not a dream. It's a wish. And wishes never build empires. Let me tell you a story about a man named Robert. He worked in a factory day and night just to pay the bills. His co-workers laughed when he brought books to read during lunch. They teased him when he turned down drinks on the weekend to save money for courses. They said, why sacrifice now? You should enjoy life while you can. But Robert kept sacrificing. Year after year, 10 years later, those same people were still stuck in the same factory. Robert owned his own company. And guess what? Those same people who mocked him now begged him for a job. Do you see it? Sacrifice doesn't just separate you from comfort. It separates you from the crowd. Mini affirmation: I'm not afraid to stand apart. My sacrifice sets me apart. But let's dig deeper into psychology. Why do we avoid sacrifice? Because our brains are wired to prefer instant gratification. You want the cookie now, not the health later. You want the comfort now, not the achievement later. This is called temporal discounting. Your brain tricks you into valuing the present more than the future. But here's the thing, the future always comes. And when it does, it collects every debt you avoided. Reflection question, what instant gratification are you choosing today that will punish your future self? There is no escaping this law of life. You pay now, or you pay later, with interest. The man who sacrifices comfort now gains freedom later. The man who avoids sacrifice now pays double in regret, pain, and lost years. Let me ask you something. 10 years from now, when you look back, which pain will you be willing to live with? The pain of sacrifice or the pain of regret? Because one way or another, you will feel pain. But only one pain builds you. Only one pain takes you forward. Only one pain makes you proud. Quote, suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. The choice is yours. Let's not sugarcoat this. Sacrifice is hard. It will hurt. You will doubt yourself. You will feel lonely at times. But that pain is not your enemy. It is the price of admission for greatness. No champion was born in comfort. No leader was built in ease. Every empire, every victory, every transformation came through sacrifice. And here's the darker side. You will not get a second chance at this. You only get one life, one timeline, one shot. If you waste it on comfort, there's no restart button. You will take that regret to your grave. Mini affirmation, my future is worth the price of sacrifice today. Now let me give you a perspective shift. Sacrifice is not really loss, it's trade. You are not losing sleep, you are gaining success. You are not losing comfort, you are gaining confidence. You are not losing fun, you are gaining freedom. Every sacrifice you make is not subtraction, it's investment. The world will try to convince you you're losing, but you're not. You're buying your future with the currency of the present. Reflection question, if every sacrifice is an investment, what future are you currently buying? Think of your idols, the people you admire, the names you respect, the legends you quote. Every single one of them became great because they sacrificed what others wouldn't. They gave up nights of rest, years of comfort, seasons of ease. And the result? They became unforgettable. Now ask yourself, do you want to be remembered or do you want to be forgotten? Quote, legends are built on the bones of sacrifice. And here's something darker. If you refuse to sacrifice, do you know what happens? You don't just waste your own life. You betray everyone who believed in you. Your parents who worked hard for you. Your children who depend on you. Your younger self who dreamed of greatness. When you avoid sacrifice, you're not just letting yourself down. You're letting them down too. Mini affirmation. I will not betray the people who believe in me. My sacrifice is my proof of love. Think about that guilt. Think about that shame. Do you really want to stand in front of your family one day and admit you didn't try harder because comfort was more important? Imagine telling your kids, I didn't build a life you deserve because Netflix and sleep felt better at the time. That's the truth nobody wants to face. But you must face it, because until you feel the sting of that potential regret, you won't understand the power of sacrifice. Reflection question, who will suffer if you refuse to sacrifice now? The answer is clear. If you don't sacrifice for your dream will become the sacrifice. And one day, when you're older, you'll look back and whisper, I could have been more. But it will be too late. Mini affirmation, I refuse to be a could have been. I choose sacrifice. I choose greatness. And that brings us here, standing at the edge of your choices. Will you cling to comfort, or will you embrace sacrifice? Will you live with regret, or will you live with pride? The choice is always yours, but the clock is always ticking. Because time does not wait. Because comfort does not care. Because sacrifice is the only bridge to greatness. Part 5. The power of sacrifice, motivation and affirmations to trade comfort for greatness. Sacrifice. By now, the word no longer feels like a heavy stone you're forced to carry. It feels like a sword you can wield. In Part 4, we uncover the truth. Sacrifice is not loss but trade, not subtraction but investment. But even knowing this, the hardest part is not understanding sacrifice. It's choosing it every day when no one is watching. Let's be honest. There will be days when you wake up and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why can't I just take it easy like everyone else? You'll see your friends living without discipline, laughing while you're working, resting while you're grinding, spending while you're saving. And a small voice will whisper inside you, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm missing out. But that voice is a liar. That voice is a voice of regret, tempting you before it's too late. Because here's the cruel trick of life. When you choose comfort today, you don't feel the pain right away. The pain waits. It builds. It matures in silence. And then, years later, when you need strength, when you need freedom, when you need success, you realize you traded it away for a moment of ease. That is a trap. That is how people bury themselves alive in regret. Mini affirmation: I silence the voice of comfort. I choose the voice of my future self. Think about the psychology here. Your brain is built to chase pleasure and avoid pain. But sacrifice flips the script. It asks you to accept pain now so you can build pleasure later. That's why sacrifice feels unnatural. It's fighting against your wiring. But here's what separates champions from everyone else. They rewire their brains through discipline. They learn to see sacrifice not as suffering, but as strategy. Reflection question: can you train yourself to see every sacrifice as proof of strength instead of proof of loss? Imagine two roads. On the first road, you eat whatever you want. You avoid hard work. You skip the uncomfortable choices. At first, it feels easy. But step by step, that road becomes heavy with disease, regret, financial stress, wasted years. On the second road, you eat with discipline. You work when you don't feel like it. You choose a harder path. At first, it feels hard. But step by step, that road becomes lighter, filled with health, freedom, strength, respect. Which road will you take? Quote, the road to comfort ends in chains. The road of sacrifice ends in freedom. But maybe you've already tasted regret before. Maybe you know the sting of missing out on an opportunity because you chose ease over effort. Maybe you've already felt the pain of looking back and saying, I should have tried harder. I should have sacrificed more. Let that memory burn into your mind. Let it hurt, because that pain is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's reminding you never to go back to that place again. Mini affirmation: my past regrets fuel my present sacrifices. Now let me tell you a story. A young woman named Sarah dreamed of being a writer. She had notebooks full of ideas, stories, and poems. But every time she sat down to write, she found herself scrolling her phone, watching shows, hanging out with friends. She told herself, I'll write tomorrow. Years passed. She got married, had children, took a job she didn't love. One day, while cleaning the attic, she found her old notebook. She opened it and saw her younger self begging her through words on a page. Tears filled her eyes. She had sacrificed a dream, not for greatness, but for comfort. And the worst part, it was too late to start over. That is the real tragedy of avoiding sacrifice. It's not just about the success you lose. It's about the version of yourself you kill. Reflection question: what part of yourself will die if you don't sacrifice now? Let's face it, life is cruel to those who waste time. You don't get the years back. You don't get a refund on wasted days. You don't get a second chance at youth. And one day, you will realize that the things you thought were sacrifices, time, sleep, money, were nothing compared to what you lost when you avoided them. Quote, you think sacrifice costs too much? Wait until you see the bill for regret. But let me give you hope. The good news is that sacrifice compounds. Just like money grows with interest, sacrifice grows with power. Every small sacrifice builds momentum. Every time you say no to comfort, your strength doubles. Every time you give up something small, you gain something big. That is how empires are built, not in one massive sacrifice, but in countless small sacrifices stacked over time. Mini affirmation: every sacrifice I make multiplies my power for tomorrow. Here's the darker side again. You've seen it. The person who never sacrifices, who always chooses comfort, who avoids a hard path. Look at their life. They are trapped in debt, trapped in weakness, trapped in mediocrity. They are not free. They are slaves to their own comfort. And the saddest part, they never even notice when the cage closed around them. Reflection question: are you building a life of freedom, or are you building your own cage? Let's bring this home. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is preparation. Every time you sacrifice, you are sharpening yourself, shaping yourself, strengthening yourself for the battles ahead. Think of a soldier training before war. If he avoids sacrifice, he enters battle unprepared, weak, and vulnerable. But if he embraces sacrifice, when the real fight comes, he wins. Life works the same way. Your sacrifices today are your training for the victories tomorrow. Quote, sacrifice today so you don't bleed tomorrow. Now let me ask you the final question of this part. Will you pay the price now, or will you pay the debt later with regret? Because make no mistake, you will pay. But the choice of how you pay is still yours. Mini affirmation, I choose to pay with sacrifice, not with regret. And so we close part 5 with the truth ringing louder than ever. Sacrifice is not your enemy. Comfort is. Sacrifice is not the thief. Regret is. Sacrifice is a bridge to freedom, to greatness, to the life you were meant to live. But as we move forward, you must face an even deeper truth. Sacrifice alone is not enough. It must be guided, aimed, and fueled by something bigger than yourself. Because sacrifice without direction becomes suffering. And that takes us to the next step of this journey. Tomorrow we will discuss day 22, the power of vision. Because without a vision, your sacrifice has no aim, no meaning, no reward.